Undang-Undang RI nomor 1 tahun 2023 terancam hukuman 3-18 tahun pidana penjara.
Untuk saat ini
pro-European, pro-American, and friends to Israel, the Jewish people, and the one and only Jewish state. That is what Israel hopes will be the choice of the Iranian people to really rid the world of this murderous regime that had been controlled by Khamenei. He is no longer alive. The religious leadership in Qom are in doubt, and we hope from Jerusalem on the eve of this extraordinary holiday called Purim, which commemorates the last-minute reprieve of certain death for the Jewish people 2,500 years ago, resulting in the death of the Iranian viceroy called Haman. And here we have 2,500 years later the death of the modern-day Haman, the modern-day Nazi Hitler dictator Khamenei. And this really paves the way for a very different Iran. And that is what everyone in Israel, Jews, Muslims, Christians, all hope for the people of Iran. They will determine their own future.
As we've been hearing from Iranians here on BBC News, they say that they've been left unarmed, being asked to take on a brutal government. They say they don't have the capacity to be able to challenge the military in Iran. And as we've been hearing as well, this change, this transition could open the door for a more hardline leader in Iran. So you're asking them really to take on an impossible challenge.
That's a very good question, and yes, there are risks involved. It's possible that you could get a severe and hardline Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, leadership in place, but what we are seeing from here, from Jerusalem, and I think the United States shares this view, is that a number of senior IRGC leaders have been switching sides. Billions of dollars have been ferried outside the country, and there are indications that the Shah's son, RP2, Reza Pahlavi II, who has been called upon by a couple of million
especially to the two rival nations.
Are willing to start an all-out war with the United States, but if it so happens, we will inevitably put up a very strong
is not only one of the most powerful men in Iran, but I would argue one of the most powerful men in the Middle East.
2009 brought about the first real challenge to his rule. Demonstrations claiming elections had been rigged. Khomeini met it with force, widespread arrests, and calls for unity.
Arm wrestling in the streets is not the right thing to do after the elections. I want everyone to put an end to this. If they don't stop this, then the consequences, the rioting and everything, they will be held accountable for all.
Again and again, his regime faced calls for moderation. In 2022, the 22-year-old Masha Amini died after being arrested by the so-called morality police, and the Woman Life Freedom movement swept the country. His support for Iran's nuclear energy program and missile programs defied much of his country's relations with the West, whose governments feared Iran would develop nuclear weapons. Under Khomeini, Iran's influence extended into Iraq after Saddam Hussein's ouster. Tehran also became a major player in the civil wars in Syria and Yemen. And yet, in the wake of Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel and the ensuing war in Gaza, he saw Iran's regional influences collapse. Israel's devastating attacks in Lebanon neutered Iran's most powerful proxy force, Hezbollah. And a lightning offensive by Syria's rebels saw another steadfast ally, dictator Bashar al-Assad, flee for the safety of Moscow. It presaged perhaps the most devastating blow yet. In June 2025, Iran and Israel launched what would become a 12-day war. Tehran attacking Tel Aviv with long-range missiles, and the US joining Israel in bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. In just a few short years, Khomeini's entire security strategy seemingly collapsed. Billions spent on proxy forces, missile and nuclear development vanished. Khomeini tried to put a brave face on it.
They are desperate. In the 12-day war, they received such slaps that they couldn't believe it. They hadn't anticipated it. They became desperate. This person, Trump, went to boost their morale. He went to pull them out of despair.
Khomeini's legacy is yet to be written. Overreach, burying the aspirations of the Iranian people in a region whose geopolitics were being upended, and a theocratic government trying to stick to old ideals, failing to adapt to the 21st century.
Our thanks to Nick Robertson. I'm Jim Sciutto in Washington. Our breaking news coverage is back in just a few minutes with my colleague Becky Anderson. Please do stay with CNN.
Network. We're really happy to be here at the start of something very special in television journalism.
On March 11, CNN reflects on stories from the past 10 years that shed light on the action and activism dedicated to ending modern-day slavery.
Modern slavery is a stigma on humanity.
This powerful day of coverage will reveal the global nature of the crisis and the growing movement to end it.
When you bring people together, it gives all of us strength.
Hashtag My Freedom Day, March 11 on CNN.
We've seen those incoming here, so we have seen waves of those continued strikes. Meanwhile, the U.S. has been a bit more discreet about its continued operations, but Trump has warned that they will keep striking Iran in his first Truth Iran until there was peace in the region, and even, he said in his Truth Social post, world peace.
Oren Liebman is in Tel Aviv. For the time being, Oren, thank you. Here in the UAE, an unprecedented nearly 24 hours under attack by Iran. You're looking at a fresh explosion in Dubai. At last count, officials say they'd intercepted at least 137 missiles and 209 drones, though my colleagues have heard several more blasts in recent minutes. And it follows panic, chaos and injuries at the Dubai airport overnight, and a Shahed drone striking a luxury hotel in Dubai's Palm Jumeirah on Saturday. Let me bring in Reem bint Ibrahim al-Hashimi. She's the Member of State for International Cooperation for the UAE. And Reem, thank you for joining us from Dubai this morning. It is hard to overstate just how shocking these images are to UAE residents who are used to this country being a beacon of safety and stability, as Iran now threatens the, quote, heaviest offensive in its history following the Supreme Leader's death. Can you give us the very latest on the scope and scale of the targets and casualties
Kawesi Mark knows how to bust a move. But before this b-boy tears it up on the dance floor, the breakdancer's routine starts here, on the training field.
I remember my days when I was in school and I really wanted to practice and be better at my dancing. I would come here in the morning to run and work out, then later in the afternoons to practice my break dancing up on the stairs. But generally I like to come here because of, one, it kind of connects me to something, I feel like, but also it generally helps me to concentrate, reflect, to think, to clear my mind.
Growing up in the slums of Uganda, Mark understands the importance of having a creative outlet.
Because I became a break dancer, my title changed from, Mark the homeless kid, Mark the orphan, is shifted to Mark the break dancer.
I'm Manu Raju on Capitol Hill, and this is CNN.
A procession of ships. Constant flow. Precision at scale. Non-stop, around the clock. Logistics, perfectly orchestrated. Discover the science behind the global trade. Port Control Spain. Fridays on Discovery Channel.
To Mark the break dancer.
I'm Zain Asha, and this is CNN.
Attacks on Israel and US bases in the region. This comes the day after Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and other top officials were killed in joint US and Israeli strikes. Iran now promising to respond with, quote, the heaviest offensive operations in its history. Let me get you to our Paula Hancock's in Dubai. And Paula, what is the scene where you are?
Well, Becky, it's certainly been a sleepless night for people across the Gulf. And we know here in Dubai that people were woken up at about 8 o'clock this morning to more interceptions overhead. Then a couple of hours later, we heard a number of interceptions just above the Bureau. So it's been pretty consistent, the incoming missiles, potentially drones, coming into this area. We know in Abu Dhabi as well, there have been explosions heard overhead. Now, we are
Right back with more of our continuing coverage after this.
I had heard that the lavender fields of Provence were something to behold, but I wasn't expecting anything as spectacular as this lot. Jean-Pierre speaks almost no English. The bees. C'est les abeilles. And my Duolingo French is coming along nicely. Lavender. Lavender. What? Lavender is as much a part of the identity of the south of France as the sun and the beach. The flower has grown wild. Je pense que c'est dans les veines. I think it's in my veins, he tells me. My family has been here for 300 years. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus beau que ça? Regardez. What's more beautiful than this, he asks. The sound of the bees and the smell.
The Venice Simplon Orient Express evokes the charm of a bygone era of travel. This train is all about enjoying the journey and the ceremony of travelling in style. Dressing up is an absolute must. If you're too casual, you actually won't be allowed out of your cabin. The dress code is strictly formal. The gents have to wear suits, and us ladies have to don evening attire. I think now is the time to go and party. Come on. I think there is something so special about travelling in this way. There's absolutely no concept of time. It's been about meeting people, and I feel like that is my life's work, creating experiences for people to really connect, being really present and enjoying the ride.
I'm Ivan Watson in Hong Kong. This is CNN.
Oh, look at strudels. Oi. Right, I don't want the whole thing to slide off. Hey. This is Budapest at its absolute glorious best. For instance, the Ruin Bar district. Wow. Oh, look at this.
And you see it's so much color, disco lamps and everything.
You choose your adjective by your generation. Budapest is in. It's hip. It's happening. Or simply, it's cool. Everybody's getting ready for a summer. But who wants to wait till summer?
I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta in Atlanta. This is CNN.
Russian lines are just 1 kilometer from here.
This is just one of the latest buildings struck by Israel here in the southern suburbs of Beirut.
This is our town, insists Galina. We're staying here. We know our soldiers are protecting us. In the end, a child is a child, says Nadra. The mother of a child is a mother, whether she's Israeli or Palestinian.
Scenes of celebration have erupted in London at the news of the death of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Crowds gathered on the streets of Finchley, for example, home to a large Iranian diaspora community. There was embracing of strangers and neighbours, dancing to Persian music and waving the flag of the Iranian monarchy. Some celebrated what they called an historic moment, while others told CNN that the scene was bittersweet, expressing hope for change in Iran.
expecting anything as spectacular as this lot. Jean-Pierre speaks almost no English.
The bees. C'est les abeilles.
And my Duolingo French is coming along nicely.
Lavender. What?
Lavender is as much a part of the identity of the south of France as the sun and the beach. The flower has grown wild here for hundreds of years.
Lavender est classique.
Oui, mais là, vous écrasez.
Oh,
Je pense que c'est dans les veines.
I think it's in my veins, he tells me. My family has been here for 300 years.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus beau que ça? Regardez.
What's more beautiful than this, he asks. The sound of the bees and the smell.
This should be a moment in television history.
When you travel the world, make sure the world travels with you. Check in, log on, and get connected with all of the latest developments at your fingertips. CNN Partner Hotels. Connected to your world.
News races around the world at breakneck speed.
Once that story aired, it blew up.
It is actually an example of sometimes journalism, it's led to something good.
Amanpour, weekdays on CNN.
be a day of
The situation here in Bahrain is not radically different from what you're seeing in Abu Dhabi, Doha, and across the other Gulf states. Sirens have been blaring minutes ago.
Here, based in the Gulf in Bahrain, Hassan Al-Hassan joining us today. Right, still to come tonight. Iranian media says dozens were killed at a school during the US-Israeli attacks early on Saturday. We're going to get the latest on what we know on that after this.
On March 11, CNN reflects on stories from the past 10 years that shed light on the action and activism dedicated to ending modern-day slavery.
Modern slavery is a stigma on humanity.
This powerful day of coverage will reveal the global nature of the crisis and the growing movement to end it.
When you bring people together, it gives all of us strength.
Hashtag My Freedom Day, March 11 on CNN.
Weekdays on CNN.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter.
This whole area is just engulfed in flames.
From a trusted voice, a fearless eyewitness.
the people of Iran. He encouraged them to seize control of their government after.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight.
Now, all of this comes after several rounds of high-stakes talks between the United States and Iran, led on the U.S. side by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. The most recent round of still a significant gap between the two parties as they failed to come to a nuclear agreement. Now, throughout that process, Trump has expressed frustration, saying that the Iranians would talk and talk, but he was not seeing the action that he wanted to see. And at one point, he even said that regime change could be the best outcome. Following now the killing of Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, it seemed, and his recent comments to the people of Iran, it does seem clear that that is at least part of the goal here. Now, in a phone call with CBS News, Trump said that there are some good candidates to lead Iran, but he did not elaborate further.
Yes. Julia, stand by. I want to get to Jennifer Hansler in Washington, and we've seen scenes of celebration across Iran. Jenny, a monument torn down in one city. I mean, even if the Iranians are answering that Trump call to rise up, what is the U.S. administration's plan moving forward to support them?
Well, that's a great question, Becky, and one that we have not seen a fulsome answer. Heard in terms to what actually happens now following the killing of the supreme leader. Secretary of State Marco Rubio himself said in a recent congressional hearing that they don't really know what would happen when that took place, that it's, you know, anyone's guess who might take over, despite what Trump said about these so-called good candidates that he has in mind. In terms of the broader diplomacy here, Becky, obviously there is a very serious concern in the region and beyond that this could escalate out of control. We saw Rubio speak with his G7 counterparts last night. According to the Italian foreign minister, there was some discussion about avoiding the widening of this conflict.
Jennifer, always good to have you. Much appreciated. Julia, there in Florida, very much appreciate your time. Thank you to you both. We will be right back with CNN's breaking news coverage. It is 12:30 p.m. here in Abu Dhabi from our Middle East programming.
In every corner of Africa are breathtaking landscapes, inspiring breakthroughs.
All right, let's go!
And the people that enrich communities. Delve deep into every facet of this great continent. Inside art and culture, sports, inside business, tech, and so much more. Inside Africa on CNN, in association with Zenith Bank.
We've shared the stories of Africa's brightest stars, and now we're opening up the conversation. Raw, real, and revealing. This is African Voices.
This week, producer and musician Feels.
What makes a great collaboration?
The absence of ego. I think ego kills a lot of creativity.
African Voices on CNN. in association with Glow.
They're super cute. They're so cute. For thousands of years, humans have relied on the land to sustain our society. Now, a robotics revolution is shaping the farms and forests of tomorrow. Check this out. We meet the brilliant future for the planet.
We are bringing the lab to the field.
Join me, Christy Lustel, on Tech for Good.
This weekend on CNN, in association with Samsung.
This news service will be called the Cable News Network. We're really happy to be here at the start of something very special in television journalism.
I'm Valeria Leon in Mexico City, and this is CNN.
I had heard that the lavender fields of Provence were something to behold, but I wasn't expecting anything as spectacular as this lot. Jean-Pierre speaks almost no English.
The bees. C'est les abeilles.
And my Duolingo French is coming along nicely.
Lavender. Lavender. What?
Lavender is as much a part of the identity of the south of France as the sun and the beach. The flower has grown wild here for hundreds of years.
Lavender est classique.
Oui, mais là vous écrasez.
Oh,
je pense que c'est dans les veines.
I think it's in my veins, he tells me. My family has been here for 300 years.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus beau que ça? Regardez.
What? Smell.
He's yellow, he's square. Meet SpongeBob SquarePants. Join SpongeBob and his aquatic friends, Patrick, Sandy, Squidward, and many more, as they dive in crazy underwater adventures in Bikini Bottom. That are rated 5 out of 5 starfish. So get ready and drop your anchor for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Boleh ya, Chef? Ini yang satunya lagi itu warna hijau. Waduh, enak banget nih kayaknya. Ya ampun, wanginya sweet. Mudahnya menjadi chef.
I just love the people here.
I'm Will Ripley in Taipei, Taiwan, and this is CNN.
The semi-official Tasnim news agency says the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has launched a 6th wave of attacks on Israel and what they describe as US bases in the region. This comes the day after Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and other top officials were killed in joint US and Israeli strikes. Iran is now promising to respond with, quote, the heaviest offensive operations in its history. Well, this video, geolocated by CNN, shows what appears to be a new Iranian attack on Dubai, with smoke rising near the city's airport. There have also been attacks in Doha, in Bahrain and in Erbil, Iraq, where US troops, of course, are stationed. US President Donald Trump posted on social media that if Iran continues its retaliation, the US will, quote, hit them with a force that has never been seen before. Well, these surprise strikes on Iran just over 24 hours ago have plunged the country and the world into uncharted territory. My colleague Jim Shooter has more on how Saturday's attacks unfolded and how this conflict has the potential to reshape the region for better or worse.
It was a broader and more ambitious attack than many had expected. As day broke, airstrikes slammed Tehran Saturday morning as the U.S. and Israel launched joint strikes, which President Trump called Operation Epic Fury.
The United States wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground.
Sources tell me that the U.S. is prepared for multiple waves of strikes, lasting 36 to 48 hours, followed by pauses to assess battle damage. Soon after the strikes began, a plume of smoke was visible rising from Tehran's Pasteur district, location of the highly secure compound housing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. By day's end, President Donald Trump confirmed the Supreme Leader was dead. Citizens to stay home. Iranian state-run news agencies began reports that missiles are dropping in cities across Iran, including Isfahan, Loristan, Barrage, and Tabriz. Footage verified by CNN appears to show a strike on Iran's intelligence ministry complex in northern Tehran. Video geolocated by CNN from another angle appears to show the same area. Then retaliatory strikes by Iran began hitting across the region. First, missile attacks on the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet base in Bahrain. Soon after, Iran fired short and medium-range missiles at the Al-Udeid air base in Qatar, Erbil, Iraq. Within hours, the United Arab Emirates announced it had closed its airspace as missiles struck the capital city, Abu Dhabi, and heavily populated neighborhoods in Dubai. Israel itself was next, as sirens erupted in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Iran launching dozens of ballistic missiles in Israel's direction. Israeli air defenses working to intercept them. Stories of casualties quickly emerged. Iranian media says dozens of students were killed after a missile struck a school near the town of Minar. Bahrain reported a high-rise residential building struck.
In the next few days, we are going to strike many terrorist targets to complete this act and to topple this regime.
Help has arrived.
This help that you were wishing for has arrived, and this is the time to go together for this mission.
Global airlines are canceling flights all over the Middle East, and governments warning their citizens to take immediate shelter as the deadly back and forth continues with no apparent end in sight. Jim Sciutto, CNN, Washington.
Well, CNN's Ivan Watson joining us now live. And Ivan, we've Lara
has been one of the most forceful voices to emerge now, day 2 of this combined U.S.-Israeli bombardment of Iran. I'd like you to take a listen to an excerpt of what he had to say on Iranian state media.
The Americans have stabbed the Iranian people in the heart, and we will stab them in their heart. The reaction from our armed forces will be much stronger.
So no signs of backing down at all, and also signals being sent from Tehran about plans to continue leadership, talking about formation of a temporary leadership council and a process to appoint a new supreme leader. And recall that since the revolution of 1979, Iran has only had 2 supreme leaders, and the now slain Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, by far the longest serving, some 36 years in power. So big questions about who will assume leadership next, and also with leadership decimated. I mean, among those now confirmed killed by Iranian state media are the defense minister, the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the commander of the armed forces, you know, just a growing list of important officials in the Islamic Republic who have all been killed. The government has declared 40 days of mourning. Also, as we've heard, it's vowed revenge. We're seeing, on the one hand, some people in different Iranian cities celebrating the death of their supreme leader. On the other hand, we've seen signs, mass outpourings of support for him in the streets of Isfahan, for example, in Tehran as well. And the ripple effects of this war, we just saw in Jim Sciutto's report there. I note some statistics that came out of the government of Bahrain saying that they had shot down 45 missiles and 9 drones fired at Bahrain. Also hearing from the Oman news agency that 2 drones were fired at the commercial port there, injuring at least 1 worker. And that's all the more striking when you consider that Oman was involved in mediation efforts, and the Omani foreign minister in the hours leading up to this U.S.-Israeli attack appeared to be intervening, trying to salvage a diplomatic effort here, Becky, and yet it seems to have come under Iranian drone attack, as well as so many other countries across the Gulf. Air traffic across the region has ground to a halt as airspace is closed, and numerous airports from Dubai to Doha to Bahrain have been targeted by drones. Sea traffic appears to have slowed down dramatically, and I want to point to one other deadly incident that has taken place in Pakistan, a bit further from this immediate region, where an angry crowd attacked the U.S. consulate there. We have emergency ambulance workers who have confirmed the deaths of at least 6 people at the gates of the U.S. consulate in Karachi, and a Pakistani police official telling CNN that this angry crowd of hundreds appeared almost within minutes, and they were protesting the U.S. war in Iran, Karachi home to a significant Shiite Muslim population. Becky.
Thank you, Ivan. And just to underscore there, the news that Oman is down 2 drones targeting the Duqm port means that all 6 Gulf countries have now been the victims of strikes over the past 24 hours. As you rightly underscore, it was Oman in a mediation role through these latest and last series of talks, trying to find a diplomatic solution to this now with these strikes. That really is a game changer. Thank you. Victory cheers filling the streets of Tehran. Just ahead, a look into the celebrations following the death of Iran's supreme leader, and more on others who are mourning the loss.
You touched me here. What did you see?
I saw a landscape.
Saw a landscape?
Spaces, caves, tunnels and oceans, undiscovered countries.
The evolution they both went on doing this film, and the big anchor was less about what's in the head, less about what theirs or my visions of what the characters are going to do scene by scene, but how much each of them can get into their bodies so they could just be there and see what happens. And that sounds simple and it sounds like acting 101, but it's extremely hard. As hard as, you know, if you could truly meditate without a thought for 8 hours a day.
Antarctica is known to have the largest population of penguins in the world, but not all penguins live in snow and ice. Some can be found waddling along the balmy shores of southern Africa. But in the last century, populations of the endangered African penguin have plummeted, due in part to human disturbance, egg poaching and climate change.
On Dye Island in the 1970s, there was about 23,000 breeding pairs. At the moment, we're counting about 1,100 breeding pairs. So it's quite a severe collapse.
In 2016, the African Penguin Nest Project dived to the rescue. a coordinated effort between Daya Island Conservation Trust and other organizations. Its mission is to design and deploy artificial nests that give penguin parents a safe and cool place to raise their chicks.
The Venice Simplon Orient Express evokes the charm of a bygone era of travel. This train is all about enjoying the journey and the ceremony of travelling in style. Dressing up is an absolute must. If you're too casual, you actually won't be allowed out of your cabin. The dress code is strictly formal. The gents have to wear suits, and us ladies have to don evening attire. I think now is the time to go and party. Come on. I think there is something so special about travelling in this way. There's absolutely no concept of time. It's been about meeting people, and I feel like that is my life's work, creating experiences for people to really connect, being really present and enjoying the ride.
I'm Max Foster at Buckingham Palace in London. This is CNN.
If you take a trip to the northwest of Namibia, an arid region of southern Africa where sandy deserts and rocky mountains dominate the landscape, you may come across an unexpected sight. These desert-adapted elephants are actually African savanna elephants that have developed distinct skills to help them live here. They're only one of 2 desert-dwelling populations in the world. In this part of the country, there are 22 elephants from 3 different herds that roam freely. This according to Herman